Hello guys, welcome to our channel Reviewing Indian. Today we are going to review my all new 2022 Suzuki Gixxer 250. So let's get into the review straight, and let me talk by saying why I sold my Meteor 350 and why I got this one. So let's get into the review and let's enjoy. And if you like this video, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, leave a like, so that I can produce more high quality content video. So let's get into the review first. So let's start with why I sold my Meteor 350. So some of you would have noticed in the previous video that I used to own a Meteor 350. I sold it primarily, I'll just make it clear, just because I needed some money immediately, because I was planning to buy some stuff, and immediately I needed money. I sold this vehicle, and of course there was some product requirement. It was there was no issue with the Meteor 100%, but as I mentioned in my review, check my video here, I wanted slightly higher cruising speed. The Meteor will do 120 indicated, but it kind of maxes out at around 110 max, and that too at that time the vehicle feels stressed. So that was the only thing. Because of lack of 6th gear, I wanted a better vehicle with 6th gear and better cruising speed, which this Gixxer definitely has, which I'm going to talk about. So that's the main point, why I sold my Meteor. And now we'll get into why I bought this why I bought this Gixxer 250, and what are things I like, what are things I need improvement, and maybe if there's any dislike. So I'm going to talk detailedly about this product. And since it's very hot outside, let's get into the house and let me start the review. Don't worry, there will be a lot of clips when I talk, and you can watch and see. So let's get into the review. So coming back to the Gixxer 250, so I had this Meteor sold, and I got the money, I got the thing, whatever I wanted to do with the money. Then after a few days, I got my money back, and I'm now left without a bike. So by chance encounter, I went to the Suzuki dealership to give my Suzuki Bergman 125 for service, and there was standing this lonely matte black Gixxer 250. So I asked the dealer whether I can do a test ride, longer test ride this time, because if you see my video, I just previously did a review based on a small test ride. But this time I asked, if I like this bike, I need a longer test ride, and I will immediately book the vehicle. So I did the test ride, and I loved the bike, and I just immediately booked the bike. And within 1 week, I got it delivered, because it was the same bike which I used for test ride. And it was a brand new bike, and January 05, means January 5th built vehicle. And I fell in love with the vehicle after test ride, and I bought it. So after buying, now I've covered around 2100 and something kilometers, including a 1233 kilometer long ride to Kerala and back. So I covered more than 1200 kilometers in like 3 days. I went from here to Chennai to Palakkad and came back in the Gixxer. So this review is kind of talking about everything: the city ride, the highway ride, the handling, the performance, the mileage, the good, the bad, everything. So let's first talk about the weight of the vehicle. So coming to the review about the weight, the main thing I liked about this vehicle is the weight. It's only 156 kilograms, which means it's kind of lighter than my Meteor by like 30 something kilograms. It's very flexible, agile, and I'm not a very strong guy. I'm like 5'7" tall, and I'm kind of 70, less than 70 kilos like weighing. So I needed a light vehicle, but not like too light. So this was light, agile. So coming to the agile part, the suspension is superb. You get chunky 41 front suspension along with the monoshock with 7-step adjustability. And while it was slightly on a harder side initially, I just kind of got it tuned. The rear suspension I guess reduced by 2 notches. Now it's very supple and very comfortable. So the lightweight, it's very flickable. It's one of the most best handling bikes in this segment, because the CBR 250R I had like felt heavy and it was committed, but this is very agile, and it's not very manic as a Duke 250, which I liked. And I was riding in this roadwork area where the road is kind of they've kind of removed the road surface. So in any other vehicle I would have felt like nervous, but this is like planted and superb. And the lightweight part and the seat height is like very good for me, because you can see the clip now that I'm just 5'7", and it was easy for me to sit, and even moving the vehicle around when it's stationary, it never felt heavy. So that is the best part about the vehicle. So the weight, superb. So as I mentioned, weight and handling superb. So the next or the best thing about the vehicle is the engine. This is a very understated 249cc engine that produces close to 26 horsepower and 22 Newton meter of torque. The best part is the rideability of the bike. Whether it's in first, you don't have to use first gear mostly. You will be mostly riding on second gear in the city, and even on speed humps you can put second, and if it's slightly faster you can third. So in second gear you can go as low as like 10 kilometers. In third you can go as low as 20 kilometers. In fourth I was just riding at 38 kilometers, and 35 kilometers I was riding in fourth. Then in fifth you are just starting 40 and you can just put in fifth. And sixth, like you are riding at 45 48 kilometers, and in sixth from 48 it will go all the way up to the indicated 148, which I did when it was not windy. But when it's very windy and when the vehicle is fully loaded, I easily did 133 134, and you can maintain like 120 125 cruising speed on the highway. So this engine is superb rideable. Mid-end punch. So once you cross 4500 rpm, of course it's good even below that, but once you cross that 4500 rpm, the punch comes and it accelerates, and that's the best part. The engine is beautiful, not much vibration, maybe at around 7 or more than 7 8000 rpm you get slight buzz on the under the seat, and maybe slight buzz on the handlebar. That's all. It's not like very uncomfortable, because I was riding it for like 1200 and something kilometer over the ride, and I was maintaining 105 110 easily. And when I get bored, I was doing 125 easily, and it will do 130 133 like without a push. So that is exactly what I wanted. So the engine is a gem. And the mileage part, overall ride, I'll just put the statistics here in the screen. Over that highway ride, when I was doing 105 110, I got an overall mileage of 37, which is pretty good for the speed I was doing. And if you're going slightly slower at 90 or 80, you will get more than 40. And with a 12-liter fuel tank, you are getting more than 400 kilometers of range. So that's the main thing about the performance I loved. And the gearbox 6-speed, and it's not very slick. It's slightly harder to shift, but so far I don't have any problem. I didn't miss any gears or something. And after third gear, I usually do clutchless shifting, so I don't mind. And the clutch is like normal. It's not very light. It's not very hard. It's very manageable. No problem there. So I love the engine, gearbox, and the rideability of the engine. That what attracted me, and it sounds really good as well. So when it comes to the exhaust note, you can listen to that now. That exhaust is good, and especially when you give the throttle, for example, when you are in fifth or sixth gear, when you are at 50 60, when you immediately open the throttle, you will get that intake noise. The gurgling noise, and that is beautiful. So exhaust note is good. So that's about the engine performance and mileage. Now let's talk about the next part. So coming to the braking also is pretty cool. You get 320 disc at the front and I think 240 at the back with dual channel ABS. ABS is pretty good and it's very sharp. The Meteor lacked that sharp bite, but this one gets really good sharp braking, and there is no panic when it happens. So coming to the other features which attracted me, the headlamp. The LED headlamp is pretty cool, and it has got decent throw. When it's like fully lit on the road and when there are a lot of vehicles, you won't see anything because you don't need that light. But as soon as you move towards lower light areas, it's pretty cool and it's very sharp. So I had to adjust the headlamp slightly so that it's slightly pointing downwards so that you get a concentrated beam, and it's very powerful, and the tail lamp looks beautiful. And coming to the other features like meter console, it's very simple, it's readable. I thought it will be difficult to read on broad sunlight, but it was really visible, and at night it's beautiful. So you get like basic information only, tachometer, trip meters, and fuel indicator. And when it comes to the fuel indicator, when the last bar and the fuel pump or the fuel symbol start to blink, you will have like 3 liters of fuel. And when last the bar itself starts to blink, you will have 1.2 liters of fuel. So usually when I start seeing the first indication that there is 3 liters of fuel itself, I will usually fill the fuel. So, and that's so the instrument panel is very, very easily readable. Maybe I would have preferred to have some sort of like a real-time mileage indicator or maybe a bit of navigation or something. But it's okay. And you get shift light indicator, which you can actually kind of program. So whether you want the shift light to blink or whether you want a shift light to stay on at a certain RPM, you can do that. And there is like other warnings like engine heating warning, engine malfunction warning, then ABS warning, and you also get oil change interval alerts. Everything you get. It's a very legible, readable instrument panel. Coming to Pillion sits slightly higher, and I'm not very confident that my wife will like it. But if I put a backrest, she might be easily able to sit, because the Pillion foot peg, everything is well designed, so you don't have to stretch your legs, you don't have to bend your legs. It's like perfect. So the only thing is that it's slightly on a higher side. Coming to other features, nowadays the trend is whether it can do the off-roading. So I did mild off-roading. So it's not like a Himalayan or something, but it can do off-roading because first of all of the low end torque it has, and it's very lightweight. So if you can live up with that slightly stiffer front suspension, you can do a bit of off-roading, and it has like slightly lower ground clearance. So mild off-roading, and when the road is blocked and you want to take a diversion, it's pretty cool and lightweight, and the engine characteristics is pretty suitable. So maybe with the all-terrain tire and maybe a slightly softer suspension setup, I could do some serious off-roading, and maybe I will try it and do it. If you see my Suzuki Bergman 125 video, I took the Bergman to the top of the hill. So I'm going to do the same with this Gixxer and see whether it can do proper off-roading. So that's another thing. And coming to the service, it was pretty straightforward. I just paid around close to 1,200 rupees for the first service, including like that they use 2 cans of oil, and they'll give you like 800 ml back. And I also asked them during the first service to tighten the cone set a bit, and some suspension adjustment which I told like made it softer. There was nothing else needed, and that's about the service part. And coming to the suspension, one thing I would like to mention is that when I was riding on the highway for that Kerala ride, I hit a massive pothole again. I don't know, it seems to be like a trend because I did the same with my Polo. This time I hit a massive pothole, and I was like worried whether the suspension have got bent or the alloy got bent. Fortunately, nothing happened and it was okay. Then I did a brake testing to see if anything wrong with the cone set after hitting the pothole. I went up to 80 kmph and there was nobody behind me. It was night riding. So I hit the brakes hard. There was no noise. Usually, if there is something wrong with the cone set, you will get tuck noise. That did not come. So the suspension is really good. That massive suspension absorbed it. So overall, I love the vehicle. And on highway, there are a lot of squids. They try to keep up with you. So when I was in Meteor, I used to be harassed by all these squids on Pulsar 220s and R15s. They will try to teach me, but I can't do anything because I'm sitting at 110. I don't want to race anybody. I just want to go to my place. But these guys will come at 110, 120. They will harass me. I have had this instance like when I was riding last time on Meteor. They were with me like for 100 or close to 100 kilometers. Maybe they were also going. So I couldn't escape and I can't stop because I had to reach a place on time. But with this Gixxer, that's a different case. Of course, the R15 with this fairing and all maybe will do better top speed. But this thing is like solid till 135 and you can escape. And the acceleration, it does like 0 to 100 in less than 10 seconds, like 9 seconds or something. It's beautiful. And so you can escape these guys and then normally cruise at 105, 110. So that is another reason why I bought this Gixxer. and it's very understated bike. If you remove the 250 stickers and all, it will look like a normal Gixxer, but when it performs, it's good, because on highway I've been constantly, accelerating, overtaking, flicking and all, and in the corners also. Like, it's a very flickable vehicle. The handling is superb. That's the reason why, I love this bike. So overall, it's good, and it is a very understated bike for the price. 156 kilograms. So this is my review. If I have to give a rating out of 10, I'll give 9 or 9.5 to this bike. Of course, I would want a slightly softer suspension, maybe a bit more information in the instrument panel, and some riding modes. That's a trend, but there's no use for me with that. And maybe switchable rear ABS for better off-roading. But I'll still give the vehicle 9 out of 10, because it's a beautiful underrated bike. Nobody appreciates how good. So if you are planning, go to the dealership, speak to them, say, I want a longer test ride, and you will love the bike. Try putting it in 38 or 14, 4th or 5th, and give the throttle. Look at the way how it pulls, beautifully pulling, accelerating with that growly noise. It's a beautiful bike, understated, and with Suzuki's service network, you won't have much of a problem. And I heard some horror stories when there was no part available, but this dealer, SSK Suzuki, been pretty good. So if you can find a good dealer, even if it's slightly farther, it's a proper all-rounder. Overall, I love the bike, the handling, the mileage, the performance, the lightweightness. Overall package is pretty good, and that's it. So if you have any comments, please leave it below. I try to answer it as well as possible. So that's it, guys. So I hope you like this video. Please just leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and also another that 1200 kilometer ride videos coming soon. I'll just put 5-minute video on how I did that ride and how good it was, so that you guys can get about the touring capability of the bike. So wait for that video. So thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.